In the 43rd year of the Galactic Accord, peace was a currency spent cheaply. Empires traded treaties as others traded ore, and beneath the glitter of their high councils lay the rusted bones of 1,000 conquered worlds. Among those empires was the Valketh Dominion, a race of tall, silver-skinned predators who believed slavery was not cruelty, but order. Their fleets swept through the edges of civilized space, binding species in chains of protection and tribute. Their soldiers called themselves order bringers, and when they looked upon humanity, young, restless, barely a century among the stars, they saw a prize too rich to ignore. The humans had allies, worlds that trusted them, trade networks, a laughable military compared to the Dominion's centuries of conquest. So the Valketh did what they always did. They came in the night. The first strike fell upon Erebus Colony, a quiet human settlement in the Carina Verge. Population, 50,000. Families, minors, children. The Dominion came with banners high, weapons hot. They called it a pacification. By dawn, Erebus was ash. The Valketh did not merely destroy, they harvested. Tens of thousands were taken, implanted with obedience collars, shipped to the labor worlds of the Dominion. Those who resisted were dissected in public broadcasts to educate other species on the futility of human rebellion. The Valketh High Speaker, Arkanzael, stood before the Galactic Assembly and declared, "The Terrans are fierce but primitive. They will serve. Their fire is a resource. We will forge it into useful heat." The galaxy watched in silence. Humanity, it seemed, was next in line for servitude. The taste of arrogance. The Dominion celebrated their victory as if they had conquered gods. The broadcasts flooded every neutral world. Humans kneeling in chains. Valketh overseers brandishing whips made of energy filaments. They even paraded a captured Terran envoy, Ambassador Lyra Haldane, through their capital spire, her hands bound, her voice hoarse from defiance. When she refused to kneel before the speaker, they broke her legs and streamed her screams across every channel. The Valketh cheered. They called it the lesson of chains. To them, humanity was a footnote, another species broken and reformed to serve. They laughed when Terran diplomats filed formal protests. They sneered when the United Earth Navy issued statements of condemnation. "Let them bark," said Jael, his jeweled mandibles glinting under the assembly lights. "Their fleets are scrap and their courage is theater. The Terrans have forgotten the old ways. They are builders, traders, diplomats. They are soft. And so the Dominion expanded its hunt. Terran merchant ships vanished on the outer lanes. Colonies fell silent. Refugees whispered of dark hulls drifting through the void. Enslavers who carried banners of burning silver. The Valketh were confident, arrogant, untouchable, and for a while, Earth was silent. Too silent. 3. The silence, before the storm silence, is not always surrender. Sometimes it is a blade being sharpened. For 3 months, not a single human transmission reached the Dominion frontier. No diplomats, no trade fleets, no chatter on the comms. Scouts reported Terran space strangely empty. Patrol routes abandoned. Civilian stations dark. Even the great orbital shipyards around Mars, once bright with construction, were sealed behind defense grids. Jael laughed. They hide behind their cradle. Let them. When we come for Earth, they will beg for chains. But the Dominion's outer pickets began to vanish. Not destroyed, simply gone. Ships reported strange sensor echoes. Distress calls came through filled with static, then cut off mid-transmission. One captain described shadows with teeth before his signal died. When Dominion investigators reached those sectors, they found nothing but drifting hull fragments. No escape pods, no debris fields, no survivors. Then came the whispers. Rumors that human ships, unknown designs, unregistered transponders, were seen slipping through the void. Massive constructs that moved without FTL wakes. Engines that glowed blue-white, silent and cold. And in the black between stars, a phrase began circulating among frightened traders. The Blades are awake. 4. The day the Blades. Sang the Valketh learned the truth when it was already too late. On the 17th of the 7th cycle, Dominion fleets entered the Sol Expanse to begin their final pacification. They came in strength, 200 warships, carriers and siege platforms. Their orders were simple. Break Earth, burn the cradle, end humanity. They expected resistance. They did not expect what came next. When their ships breached the perimeter, they found no Terran defense fleet waiting. No transmissions, only the cold silence of the stars. Then, from the dark side of Luna, the void split open. Not with FTL distortion, but with motion. Massive objects decloaked, their hulls absorbing and distorting light like liquid metal. Their identification codes were unrecognized. Their silhouettes, angular, predatory, nothing like the gentle curves of old Terran designs. They moved with precision. No comms chatter, no signals. And then Earth spoke. A single transmission, broadcasting on every frequency. To the Valketh Dominion, you wanted our chains. You will drown in our blades. The line cut, and the void screamed. The Terran fleet opened fire, not with plasma, not with railguns, with weapons the Dominion had never seen. Kinetic spears accelerated to near-relativistic speeds. Entire battleships vanished into incandescent vapor. Dominion cruisers shattered like glass. The Valketh panicked, returning fire in chaotic bursts. Their shots hit, did nothing. The Terran ship's armor absorbed, reflected, and redirected energy like rippling waves of mercury. Then came the Leviathans, human dreadnoughts the size of cities, engines burning with fusion flares so bright they turned night into dawn. Each carried enough firepower to unmake continents. The flagship ESS Retribution broadcast one final message before the assault began. This is for Erebus, for Lyra Haldane, for every child you chained. We are not diplomats today. We are the knives you forged. And the knives struck. Full. The fire that followed the Battle of Saul lasted 3 hours. 3 hours was all it took to annihilate the Dominion invasion fleet. The few surviving Valketh ships fled into hyperspace, screaming for reinforcements. But hyperspace was no refuge. Terran hunter-killer craft followed them through the folds, tracking their signatures with impossible precision. Entire Dominion convoys vanished into the warp, never re-emerging. Then Earth's fleets moved outward, not for defense, for vengeance. The campaign that followed would be known to the galaxy as the Chainbreaker War. Terran fleets emerged from silent FTL nodes across Dominion space, coordinated, surgical, merciless. They hit shipyards, slave hubs, breeding stations. Every world that had profited from human chains burned. The Valketh tried to rally. They failed. Their command networks collapsed under waves of Terran electronic warfare. Their proud dreadnoughts were sliced apart by orbital kinetic strikes that fell like comets. Terran Marines, clad in black armor marked with the sigil of a broken shackle, landed on Dominion worlds. They freed the slaves, but none of the masters. When a Valketh governor begged for mercy, a human commander looked down at him and said, "Mercy was buried on Erebus." Then the orbital batteries fired. The Dominion capital itself was reduced to cinders. Gel, the once proud speaker, was captured alive. He was broadcast galaxy-wide, bound in the same collars his empire had used on humans. "You called us primitive," said Admiral Reyes, her eyes cold as iron. "You called us soft. Now you will learn what softness hides." And with that, she pressed the command key. The collar detonated. Cakes. The night the galaxy watched. When the fires faded, when the screaming stopped, the galaxy looked upon the ashes of the Dominion and trembled. Species that had laughed at humanity's idealism now spoke only in whispers. The Valketh homeworld was gone, their empire shattered, their name erased from galactic maps by Terran decree. Refugees from Dominion space told stories of black ships that came without warning, of human troops that fought like ghosts and vanished like mist, of fleets that blotted out suns and left behind worlds of silence. And though the United Earth government issued statements of regret and necessity, no one was fooled. Earth had shown the galaxy its other face, the face behind the smiles, the one forged in millennia of struggle, of war, of pain, the one that built peace not because it was weak, but because it knew exactly how terrible war could be. The one that never forgot. Fleisch. The whisper, in the dark years later, in the ruins of what was once the Dominion's capital spire, a delegation of younger races gathered. They found a plaque among the rubble, carved into obsidian. It read, "Freedom was never your gift to take. We are the children of chains broken, not forged. If you would enslave us, remember, Earth holds blades." The message spread across the stars, etched into memory, burned into caution. When new empires rose and debated the limits of conquest, someone always whispered, "Remember the humans. They strike last, but they strike forever." And somewhere, deep in the Terran Navy's command vaults, the Leviathans slept once more, their engines cold, their hulls silent, waiting, because Earth remembered. And should the stars forget again, the blades would sing once more. Epilogue. The price of chains centuries later. A historian from the Talaran archive was asked, "Why does no one enslave humans anymore?" He paused, staring out at the scarred sector once ruled by the Dominion, its suns dimmed and silent. "Because they learned," he said quietly. "The galaxy wanted their chains. But Earth kept its blades." He turned off the recorder, closed the archive,